everyone, it's Shannon and welcome to today's video. So today's video I wanted to kind of talk about, it's a topic that I've thought about for a while, and I kind of mentioned this before, and that is whether or not to book a guarantee. So this video is specifically regarding Royal Caribbean. So I'm going to do a separate video probably in the near future regarding Disney Cruise Line, because I think that yes, they both have, guarantees, but my recommendation is kind of a little different for each and things to consider. So this one is specifically regarding Royal Caribbean and on whether or not you should book a guarantee and what you should do when you're booking a guarantee. Okay, so on the Royal Caribbean website, there is an FAQ and it states, what is a guarantee, or we pick Stateroom, and how does it work? It says that at times we may offer you the option of booking a guarantee booking. This means you may book a stateroom of a guarantee category, type, interior, ocean view, balcony, or suite on your chosen ship and cruise. However, the exact stateroom number and location of the stateroom on the ship will be allocated by us at our discretion and at any time up until check-in at the port. And that's really important because a lot of times there have been times where I've heard, hasn't ever happened to us, but it has been times where you're getting on the ship and you don't know what your stateroom is. Doesn't happen that often, but it does happen. Guest book in a guarantee cabin may not be berthed with other traveling parties due to availability. So basically, if you need like connecting staterooms, don't book a guarantee. And then staterooms allocated may be subject to obstructed views. And then please note on the Oasis and Icon class, you can be assigned a neighborhood view balcony. So those are some of the things that you want to consider. That you are booking a guaranteed stateroom on the ship, like you're going to get a cabin on the ship, and it's going to be in that category. So if you book an interior stateroom, you could basically get the lowest category stateroom. However, if you book a balcony, you're going to get a stateroom with a balcony, or you can book they even have sometimes a suite. The suite guarantees I don't see that often, but they are available at some times. But you're going to get that category. Now, there are rare occasions, and there was a case recently where people that were in guaranteed were actually bumped, because my understanding is that there was a COVID outbreak on a ship. I think this happened in Australia recently, and people got to the port and they ended up being bumped off their ship and off their sailing. That rarely happens, but that is a risk that, if you are booked in a guarantee, you're going to be the first. If something like crazy like that happens, you're probably going to be the first one to get bumped. So just something to consider. A guarantee is not standby. A guarantee is you're booking a guarantee stateroom, but those types of, one-off situations do happen. Again, that's just kind of one of the risks. But let's talk about the pros of booking a guarantee stateroom. Okay, so it's really important to note the different categories of the guarantee on Royal Caribbean. So first up, we have an interior stateroom, and that's categorized as ZI. And then you have an ocean view guarantee, which is YO. And then you have the balcony. This is the key one. There are two versions of balcony guarantees. So the first is the neighborhood view balcony. This would be on the Oasis class or the Icon class. So this could be overlooking Central Park or Boardwalk or the new Surfside, and that is XN. Then an ocean view balcony is XB. And then a suite or deluxe guarantee is WS. And that is also could be as low as a junior suite. So you're booking that, suite guarantee, but that's also a junior suite. But it's really important, especially the balcony one, because the balcony, I've seen so many people book a balcony guarantee on Oasis, and then they get assigned and they don't get an ocean view. They have a view of Central Park or Boardwalk, and that's because they didn't book an ocean view guarantee. They booked the neighborhood guarantee. We are actually booked in a neighborhood guarantee this time, and there's a reason for that, and I'll talk about that in a second. But when we were on the Oasis last year, I definitely wanted a ocean view guarantee, and so I made sure that it was an XB, and I made sure in all my paperwork it was XB. So just know that XB is an ocean view guarantee balcony, and then an XN is a neighborhood balcony guarantee. Now, the biggest pro for booking a guarantee stateroom is the cost. You are usually going to save at least some money, and it depends on how much money is important to you. If for some people, you know, the location doesn't matter, they just want to be on the ship, so saving $100 or $200 may be worth it. For us, $100 and $200 isn't worth it. But for a family of 3, for example, last year when we were on the Oasis, we saved $1,200 by booking an ocean view guarantee. Going on the Icon this coming March, we are saving over $2,000. Guarantee was, you know, a no-brainer for us. For us, I would rather get the guarantee and get that balcony than be able to choose our cabin and get an interior or ocean view. And while we don't really care about the balcony that much, the balcony staterooms tend to be a little bit larger. They usually have, the actual staterooms have more square footage, which is why we do tend to choose balcony staterooms. But we're, as I've mentioned before, we're not big balcony people. However, a lot of people are. Like, they will not go on a ship, and you just have to know what is the minimum category that you are going to be happy with, and what can you afford, and what's going to make you happy. So, but the biggest, you know, the biggest pro for a guarantee is, you know, is just that savings. Now, a big con is you don't get to choose your stateroom. So if you like being near the Windjammer, or you like being near the Starbucks on the ship, or near the gym, or near the spa, you don't get to choose. So that's a big thing for a lot of people. And for some people, that might be a big issue. For us, that's not such a big issue. But for a lot of people, you know, they would rather pay more to be able to pick their stateroom. And I totally understand that. However, for us, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, we would rather have the savings so that we could spend on the ship. So you just have to realize what's important to you. But just know that you may end up in a section of the ship that, you know, isn't suitable to your family, or where you're going to spend, or it could be the worst location on the ship. So that is probably the biggest con of, you know, getting a guarantee. Another thing for a guarantee is that you don't get to plan. So I am a big planner, and this is probably the thing that is very frustrating, is that a lot of times you're not assigned a stateroom until the week before. I think in our last one for on Oasis, we didn't get signed until like 4 days before the sailing. Now, there is a way when you do your check-in and you do your online check-in, and if you have an iPhone and you do it and you put your set sail pass in your Apple Wallet, there is like the last 4 or 5 digits is usually your stateroom. Sometimes it's not there. Now, for the last 2 cruises, we did guarantees, and I did that trick, and that was the stateroom we were assigned. However, we were not assigned until almost like 3 weeks later, the week of our sailing. So that's just something to consider. To me, it adds to the excitement. It can, you know, make us a little nervous, but it does add to the excitement of where's our stateroom going to be. Now, another pro for booking a guarantee stateroom kind of goes back to the price, but you may be able to afford a better category stateroom than if you actually pick your stateroom. So sometimes it would be cheaper to pick or book a balcony guarantee, even if it's a neighborhood balcony, over sometimes an ocean view or even an interior. So a lot of times you can afford a better category stateroom, which will, you know, again, just allow you a bigger square footage usually. Not always, but usually. So that's another pro. Again, it comes down to the price, but you can sometimes afford, you know, be able to afford a better category stateroom because you're booking a guarantee. And then another con is you could end up in a category or a location of the ship that you just do not like. I've seen a lot of people, disappointed that they've, ended up in a obstructed view balcony, or they're in a different part of the ship than they wanted, or they're just unhappy with whatever it is. So those are all things that you should be considering when you are booking a guarantee, whether it's an interior, ocean view, balcony, whatever. Look at the deck plans and look at those categories, and you can watch my videos on best and worst cruise staterooms. Look at what would be the worst stateroom in that, in that category, and would I be happy in that stateroom? What is the worst ocean view balcony stateroom? For me, it would be all the way forward, right? All the way forward. That would be the worst balconies, ocean view balcony for us. But what would be the worst neighborhood balcony? Well, for us, for Oasis, it's boardwalk staterooms all the way toward the end. That would be the worst staterooms for us. So it really just depends on what's your worst stateroom in that category. And if you were assigned that stateroom, would you be disappointed? Would you be, upset? Would it ruin your vacation? Or does it not matter? Again, it just doesn't matter to some people. And that's one of the reasons why we booked a neighborhood balcony stateroom or guarantee for our upcoming Icon class. Because I looked at the deck plans of the Icon. Obviously, no one's been on the Icon yet, but you look at the deck plans and the neighborhoods are more central. Even Surfside, it's not like Boardwalk. It's more central than and obviously Central Park. So even if we're on the furthest Surfside, it's still going to be better than if we were all the way forward on an ocean view balcony. So I already know that we'll probably be more central. I'm assuming we're probably going to get a Surfside balcony, but I don't know. We could end up with Surfside. We could end up with Central Park. We'll be fine with any of them. But I looked at the various neighborhood balcony staterooms and thought, like, okay, would I get this stateroom that would be the worst for us? Would we be happy? And the answer was yes. Now, here's a little tip that some people don't know, is that once you do get assigned, so let's say you are assigned in category H5, which I believe on the Icon is a Surfside balcony, then if there are other Surfside or other staterooms in category H5, now it has to be the exact category, you should be able to move within that category. Now, if you have a travel agent, you should be able to call your travel agent and they can move the stateroom for you. However, if you don't have a travel agent and you booked through Royal Caribbean directly, you need to call Royal Caribbean. And a lot of times I have heard that some reps will do it and some reps don't. So I always recommend booking through a travel agent. It doesn't cost you anything to book through a travel agent, and it's just so much better. But that's another reason why, is because I've always been able, while we've gotten some great assignments, I've always been able to, if I don't like our location and I see that there's a better location available, then I can call my travel agent and have them move me to a location that may be a little better for our family within that same category. But just note, it has to be the exact category. So if you booked, let's say a D, you got assigned a D5, but there's, D1 and D3 available, you can't move to those because those are different categories. It has to be the exact category within your within your category that you were assigned. But also, sometimes Royal Caribbean won't do it, but usually your travel agent will. And one other thing to also note is that you can get assigned a stateroom that may be handicapped accessible. We've actually been assigned a handicapped accessible stateroom, actually once on Disney and once on Royal Caribbean. The one time on Royal Caribbean, it was on the Symphony. It actually worked out perfect for us because Ryder was only 3 years old and we had a larger stateroom, and we had just kind of a little bit of extra room. And then we ended up like right next to or very close to the Adventure Ocean and Nursery, which he kind of, you know, fluctuated between the two. But it was ended up being great. But for a lot of people, they may not like a handicapped accessible, because a lot of things in the stateroom, especially the bathroom, you know, you have a curtain, it can get kind of wet sometimes in there. So a lot of people don't like that. So it just depends, but know that that is a possibility. You could end up with a handicapped accessible stateroom. Now, if you need a handicapped accessible stateroom, then don't book a guarantee, because if you need anything specific like that, you need some sort of special category of stateroom, then you're not going to book a guarantee. So you're not going to necessarily, you can't request a handicapped accessible stateroom if you book a guarantee. So one pro that I hear a lot of people talk about booking a guarantee is that you could get an upgrade. And theoretically, yes, you could. But I would say that is few and far between. And if you're talking about an upgrade could be where you could end up, like, let's say you booked an ocean view balcony and you end up with a large ocean view balcony, which means just basically you have a larger balcony. So, but as far as getting like an upgrade to like a junior suite, that really doesn't happen anymore. At least I don't see it happen very often. And if it happens few and far between. And the reason because of Royal Up. Now they have Royal Up, so rather than upgrade you, they can make some money and get a Royal Up and have someone bid on that category, and then give you the, you know, the balcony stateroom or whatever. Even when we booked a guarantee when it was 25% capacity and there were plenty of staterooms, we still got the category that we booked in. So I wouldn't hope, I mean, yes, it's possible. And I do see sometimes people getting assigned like a large balcony, but that's probably it for, you know, as far as an upgrade. Like you could get an interior, but maybe you're going to get a promenade interior. So yeah, you're kind of getting an upgrade, but don't think you're going to get an ocean view or a balcony if you book an interior guarantee. So the moral of the story is, it may be right for your family or maybe it's not. It really depends on what your wants and needs are. If you need a special category, or you need an accessible cabin, or you really want to be at this part of the ship, then don't book a guarantee. Know that you're just probably going to pay a little bit more. If you're like us and you want to save some money, especially if it's a big price difference, and you just know what is the worst stateroom in that category that you could be assigned, and just kind of expect that. So anything else will be an upgrade. So, but you know, I absolutely love guarantees. They're fun. Have we had bad assignments? Yeah. But we've had some really good assignments as well. And we've, for the most part, we've been happy. So with that, if you like this video, click like, click and subscribe. That way you get a notification every time I post a new video. Bye, everyone.